Hi guys, today I'm doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I am taking the questions from the Booktube wiki on fandom.com, but I think this tag was originally made by the channel Brenda C. I'll link both of these down below. I'm not sure if Brenda is actually still active I checked her video yesterday, but I don't think she's active anymore, but I'll still link the video down below. The first question is, why did you start this channel? So for me, it's interesting because I started this channel mainly because I just recently got into reading, basically last year, and I don't have a lot of friends who like to read or to read the same books as I do. And I was following some booktubers quite actively, and I thought it looked fun and I wanted to do it myself. And I personally just wanted to talk about the books that I like, that I want to read, maybe make some friends online about reading. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So I think I can bring, mainly because I'm a new reader, I can bring a lot of interesting aspects regarding that. Like, I'm still exploring my reading taste, and I'm still exploring a lot of different genres, age categories. So even a lot of the popular books that I've heard of, I haven't read. So yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how I'm planning to read a lot of the popular books. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how I feel about those books and how my reading taste develops. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I would say mainly the interaction, talking to other people about the books that I read, and also, just the interaction with the reading community online in general. Why do you love reading? So this is an interesting question for me, basically, because just a few years ago, I wasn't a reader at all. Like, I even had a discussion with a friend once who asked me why I didn't read, and I told him that I thought it was basically a waste of time, and that I didn't understand why you would read if you could instead watch movies or watch TV shows to get basically a similar or the same story. Why would you spend so much time reading? So for me, it's interesting that in the last year or so, I developed this taste for reading, and I feel like with books I can imagine the stories way better and make each story more of my own. And I feel like I understand the characters better through a book, and I feel like I'm more immersed in the story when I'm reading it. What book or series got you into reading? Okay, so the book that got me into reading was actually We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is a YA psychological thriller that a cousin of mine recommended to me, and I really liked that book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, so it was a good book. But for me, the main thing was that it was a very quick book that kept me interested throughout the book. When I started reading the book, I finished in basically 4 days, which for me, I was somebody who didn't read at all. So for me, reading a book in 4 days was very quick, even though it's a very short book. So yeah, that showed me that I could enjoy reading. And yeah, that's what I would say is the book that got me into reading. The first books that I really loved, I would say, are the first 3 Harry Potter books. I read those basically, a little bit later after We Were Liars, and I started those because I was really into the movies as a kid, but I never got into the books. So I wanted to see how I would feel about them, and I still really liked them. But what I would say actually kept me into reading and really developed the taste of reading that I have right now is the A Song of Ice and Fire series, which is a series that the TV show Game of Thrones was based upon. Yeah, after the show ended, I was quite disappointed in the ending, so I picked up the books. And for me, picking up this huge 600-700 page book it was unimaginable for me to even think about picking it up a few years ago. So for me, I would say, that's also a valid answer to this question. I would still say those are my favorite books. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? That is interesting. I would mainly ask how they got so comfortable talking to a camera, because I feel like while I think I've gotten better at it, I still feel kind of weird sometimes talking to a camera. I think some of the booktubers are quite charismatic, and their personality in front of the camera really shines through. And I would really like to know how they do that and how they develop that skill. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So for me, it's related to the last question. So I wasn't good at public speaking or presentations at all as a kid. In school I was quite nervous whenever I had to give a presentation and stuff, or talk to a lot of people. For me, that is a pretty big part of it. So yeah, for me, just growing maybe as a person who can speak publicly and seeing how that is received and not being anxious about the reception or maybe some criticism that I will get, I think that will be quite hard. But I hope I'm doing a good job. I think I got a bit better over the last month or so since I started this channel. But yeah, I hope I will get better. Like, I still have to retake some things a lot of times, and I think that's something that I would like to. I would just like to be better at speaking over a long time publicly. When did you start reading? So, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't a big reader as a kid. I read some books, not a lot of books, but mainly because of the required reading we had to do in school. I didn't really enjoy reading at all. I don't remember particularly enjoying any of the books I read in school. Like, we even read something like Handmaid's Tale, which is now a very acclaimed book, and even has a very acclaimed TV show. But I just didn't enjoy that in school. I think in school I just had this very anti-reading mentality. So for me, I really started reading at the beginning of 2019, which is when I picked up We Were Liars. I just, on the whim, at the start of the year, thought, okay, let's say I want to read 5 books this year, just to see if I could like it. And it turned out I did, and I think I picked up the right books for me, and that's how I started reading. What kind of books do you like to read? Okay, so for me, I'm still quite open to what books I read. Right now, I'm mainly focused on epic fantasy books, basically because of Game of Thrones. I really like the show. I really love the books. I'm still reading the 3rd book right now, actually. So epic fantasy is something that I really got interested in, and I feel like the premise of those stories are very interesting. But I'm still quite open. I still like the thrillers I read. I still read contemporaries. I'm going to read, I think it's a literary fiction book quite soon. So I'm still quite open. I think probably some fantasy, some thrillers, and sci-fi is also something I want to try out very, very soon. Those are the kind of books I'm wanting to read, but I'm generally very open. Right now, I still want to develop the reading taste I have, so I want to try out a lot of different things. So if you have recommendations, let me know down below, and I'll check those out. Okay, that was all the questions for the Booktube Newbie Tag. As for tagging people, I'm going to tag the Bearded Bookworm and Mike's Book Reviews. I don't know if they want to do it, I'll let them know that if they're interested, they can do this. And also, if anybody else who watches this video wants to do this video, you are also tagged. Okay, that was it for the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and let me know if you have any more questions down below. Check out my other videos that just should have showed up on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.